Right now? Right on. Let me turn my phone off. Welcome to another episode of Black Ice Reality Check. I'm your host, Black Ice, coming to you live from Las Vegas, Sticky Paw Studios. We got a great show for you today, a real good show for you today. We're going to wait for some people to log on. So give me a minute. I didn't get my water, by the way. We're actually 1 minute early. So we'll wait for some people to get on. Right on. Thank you. We'll wait for people to log on here. Give it a few. You saw that 53. Wow. I didn't post that early enough. So we're early, so we're gonna wait. We'll just do. Is the mic checks good and everything? Right on. Good deal. Let's just Not really. We're just gonna let this go for a little bit till some people log on. Just waiting. There's no viewers yet. There's a couple right now. Tell me when you unmute the mic. Right. Man, I got a cough. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Black Ice Reality Check. I'm your host, Black Ice, coming to you live from Las Vegas, Sticky Paw Studios. We're going to wait for a couple more viewers to come on. We're live on YouTube, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern every Wednesday, unless it's a holiday or I cancel the podcast. We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about 3 topics. Narcissistic traits that women have in relationships as girlfriends or wives. That's one of the topics. And then what people think of you and why does that matter? And the last one is, how do you handle your emotions or emotions itself and how it affects you? Kind of a little bit like EQ, what I talked about a couple weeks ago, but a little bit different because it goes along with narcissism and whatnot. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes here and wait for some people to log on. Last 2 viewers. Okay. There we go. Okay. The first area I'm going to talk is about narcissistic traits. Now, I have 7 traits that you can identify in a relationship with a woman, if you're a guy, that you want to pick up on. And these are kind of key traits that I would consider huge red flags. I mean, I've seen reels, I've seen TikToks, I've seen podcasts, 7, 5, 10, 12 traits. I mean, if you got any more than 3 or 4, you need to run like Forrest Gump, right? Run, Forrest, run. So here's what I've got. Number 1, She is always against you. This is another red flag and a narcissistic trait that you'll see in women. And what is that? I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Number one, she's always against you. Anytime you say something, she says the polar opposite of you. If I bring up a suggestion or you bring up a suggestion as a man and she plays devil's advocate 10 times out of 10, and she always has to be against you on everything you go with or every suggestion you have, that is a narcissistic trait. It's really bad, and I've seen it in a lot of relationships. I don't know why it happens. I don't know why people do it. I don't have a solution for you. I'm not a psychologist. It's just a trait I've seen. So if she wants you to lead and you are a leader in the relationship and you make a decision and you say something like, well, you know, maybe we shouldn't go to Colombia this time of year because it's monsoon season. And then she says, or maybe the sun will shine. And then you say, well, I want to buy a house and build it in Summerlin in Las Vegas because the value. And then she says, well, but you could build it here because it's better. If you're always battling against your spouse or partner or your significant other, you're dealing with a narcissist. It's that competition. You don't want to compete with somebody in that relationship. This is another bad one that I see. She always compares you to her friend's boyfriend or another guy or her ex. Okay, that is a bad thing in a relationship. Okay, because I've seen it happen where wives do this and they're like, why can't you be more like him? Or why can't you be more like that person? Or why can't you accept me for who I am? Are you with me? This is a very bad red flag in narcissism. You know, it's like her comparing you to some superhero on Marvel Comics or in the movies, right? You're not going to ever compete with that person. No matter what you do right, you're still going to be wrong. Why can't you be more like this guy? Why can't you be more like him? Look at Stacy's boyfriend or Lisa's boyfriend. Why can't you be more like him? No man wants to hear that. No man needs to deal with that. The other trait that I see a lot of red flags in is a woman that blames you for her problems. I always tell people I'm with, don't make your problem my problem. Don't bring that garbage over onto my side of the fence. I don't need your problems to become my problems. What does that mean? In other words, if you have a challenge or an issue, what happens is, this is the narcissistic person. They start their emotions. It really comes down to a couple things. It's all about me, and their emotions and how they handle their emotions, right? Let me explain. Once the emotions kick in and modern women don't want to own the problem that they've created or the decisions they've made that put them in the situation they're in, then they point the finger and blame you. It's your fault. It's your fault because I'm crazy. It's your fault because I'm wound up. I threw the phone and put a hole in the wall because of you. No, you cannot handle your emotions, and you're shifting blame. You're playing the blame game and shifting it on to me. That's a narcissistic trait. Okay? So, for example, she's a 7, 8, or 9 in looks and body and features. A very attractive woman. And she's not in a long-term relationship and or married or both. Okay? And then she blames men for it. No, it's you, sweetheart. You're the problem. Because if you're very attractive, physically, in the face and in the body, and you're still not in a long-term relationship, you're going to shift the blame to men, and then you're going to say, I choose to be single. That's a narcissistic woman. Okay? The other one is vindictiveness. This is another trait of a red flag that you see, that she tries to get back at you, men. So if you see a woman that tries to get back at you and do things out of selfish needs and being vindictive about it, I did this because he did this. I did this because he made me feel a certain way. That's a bad red flag. Okay? Because that can cause injury, pain, suffering, mental illness, all kinds of challenges that you can have to deal with because she's upset. So she's going to take her pain and suffering out on you. That's being vindictive, okay? The other one we see in relationships, another red flag of a narcissistic woman, is she threatens to leave you. If you're married or not in a long-term relationship, she says, well, if this doesn't change, I'm going to leave. And she's always hanging that over your head. That's the leverage we talk about in marriage, right? The financial leverage. Women are rewarded for divorce. So she uses that against you as a tool to try to get you to behave and control you to satisfy her needs. Okay? So the threat of leaving the relationship if you don't change, the threat of leaving a relationship if you don't behave, the threat of leaving a relationship if you don't do it my way. You should never threaten somebody to leave a relationship. You either leave it or you don't. That's another narcissistic trait. Okay? She can do no wrong. We've all heard this. No matter what you do, no matter what she does no wrong. And then she doesn't go to therapy for it. Okay? That's a bad, bad trait. She doesn't go to therapy or accept that she needs help. She can't do no wrong. So she starts a podcast, right? You've seen them. And they talk about all their problems and nobody watches it. There's a lot of them going around. Does not take accountability for her actions. She uses deflection, okay? This is a good one. I see it all the time, and it kind of goes back to the blame game. Narcissistic trait. Your bad behavior that you don't take responsibility for, and then you shift and deflect it onto the other person. If you had a bad hair day, and then you take it on out to your soulmate or your husband or your life partner, and then you start blaming them for you having a bad hair day because you stressed out, couldn't get enough sleep. That's you're deflecting. You're not owning your own crap. Are you with me? So that's not being accountable for your own actions. Things you do and things that happen to you are two different things, right? If I run over your foot in the driveway, that was my fault. If you're upset in a debate with your other half and you walk out the door, trip and fall, that's your fault, not my fault. Don't deflect it. Don't put that onto me. That's kind of the blame game, right? Not owning your own stuff. Okay, so the other part is, we see this a lot, is why does it bother you what people think? I'm going to shift over to the next topic. And I see this a lot. I see this in relationships. I don't want people to think. I don't want people to assume. But if they do this and they see this, they might think this about us. You have to get to a point in your life where you don't give a rat's ass what people think. You know what separates success from failure is not worrying about what people think. That's one of the traits. You can't care. You can't worry about. Look, you know who worries about what everybody thinks is the people that read all the comments. Did you read the comments? Did you see what they said about you? No. Why did you read it? I don't care what they said about me. I'm not doing this. I don't do this podcast I'm doing it to send a message to help men and put women and hold them accountable and get men accountable and put them on the right path for success in relationships. And also to talk about success. I don't care if they're upset. That's not my problem. See, that's a deflection issue. You upset me. Well, that's not my problem. Facts over feelings. Don't watch my podcast. I had an advertiser call me, send a message they were interested in advertising. I get 2 million views in 30 days on my podcast. 2 million on Instagram. And they said, well, if you change your content, we might consider advertising. We'll pay X amount of money. I'm not changing shit for you. That's why I have my own supplement brand. I'll advertise my own supplement. I'm not changing what I do to satisfy somebody's needs because they're too woke or they have a different agenda or they're a feminist or they're afraid, right? I'm not changing that. You cannot worry about what people think about you. Are they paying your bills? Are they feeding your family? Are they making money? No. You cannot worry about, I don't care. I don't care. Women have a tendency to care. That's why they read all the comments. I don't read all the comments. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. What if they judge me? So what? I've been judged my whole life. If I worried about what everybody thought, I'd fail. Right? So, yep, it's the Elon Musk attitude. You're right. Elon Musk doesn't give a shit. Dana White doesn't give a shit. Right? People that worry about advertisers or worry about what the news is going to say or worry about what Communist News Network's going to say, those are the people that fail. If somebody's worried about what I post, don't read it. If you're not going to advertise with Black Ice Reality Check, I don't care. If Celsius says we're not going to advertise with you because we don't appreciate your content, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't need your money. I don't want your money. I don't want to work with a company that's going to dictate what I do, how I do, when I do it, because it satisfies their needs and they're worried about their feelings. Are you with me? So a lot of people that have what I call issues with what people think, they've had trauma in their life, in their past. Things have affected them, so they're worried about the outcome. They're worried about being judged. They're worried about people putting them in a box, right? And that's how we were in high school and grade school. In junior high, we always worried about how we were judged. We grew up this way, right? We grew up with the attitude of, well, I'm going to wear the cool Nikes, or I'm going to wear the cool pants, or get a cool haircut, or cool earrings, or cool bracelets, or cool necklace, so people think I'm cool, because you're worried about being judged. You know what's cool? Not worrying about what people think. That's I'll give you an example. I wear Pumas, right? I was sponsored by Puma at one point. So I wear Puma shoes. I got Puma shoes on. See? I got my Puma shoes on, right? My Pumas. Okay? I don't care about wearing Nike. Nikes aren't cool to me. Everybody has Nikes on. And I see these girls wearing these little, Air Jordans running around in their dresses and all these Nikes, Nike. I don't even like Nikes. They're too political. They back Colin Kaepernick. And that's one reason I don't wear Nikes. The other reason, they don't fit my feet right. And another reason is it's not cool to me to wear Nikes because everybody wears Nikes. Be different. Be yourself. Wear what you want to wear. My girl has them. I've got them for her because they're cool little Nikes that, change colors and all that shit. But, I'm not against them 100%, but my point is I don't wear Nikes. I don't even think it's cool to me, to be honest with you. It's like, why do you want to look like everybody else? Be different, right? Yeah, somebody said VP of Operations, Puma Cat is all the advertising I need. Puma advertises, my girlfriend Puma, that's her name. She does all the advertising for Black Eye supplements. That's all the advertising we need, right? I'm never looking for sponsors, okay? The other thing, I tell people, hear me out. I'm going to talk about worrying about shit, worrying about crap. If it doesn't affect you 2 to 5 years from now, it's not that important. I had a mentor tell me this. He said, if it doesn't affect you 2 to 5 years from now, don't stress about it. I see people stress over the worst, the assumptions. I'm assuming the unpredictability of assuming something's going to happen. You have no control over that. The amount of stress and anxiety you have. I see people lose sleep. I see people stress out. I see people lose weight. They can't eat. They pace the floors. The possibility. What if the moon blows up? I don't know. What if there's World War III? What if this person does this? What if this happens? What, you can draw 1,000 scenarios, right? But you have no control over it. Stop worrying about it. If it doesn't matter 2 to 5 years from now, it's not that serious, man. I think somebody kicked my door on my car, the passenger left door on my Mercedes. Now, it upset me, but I'm not sitting there, at 2 to 5 years, I won't even have that car. Are you with me? If it's not something that's affecting your body, like cancer or leukemia, something really bad, right? If you got your health, and you're making money, you got your job, your relationship, man, don't worry about it. Somebody broke in my car and stole my phone, and then it ruins your week. Like, really? It's a freaking phone. Get another one. You have insurance. Oh, my contacts are in there. You don't talk. Look, I guarantee you, I got 6,000 people. Probably half of those are duplicates. Maybe 3,000 people on this phone. I talked to 2 people: my son, my daughter, and my girlfriend. 3 people. I don't talk to you. It's not the end of the world, guys. It's a phone. It might inconvenience you a little bit, but don't stress about it. Don't let people affect you. Don't let things ruin your day. Are you with me? If I cared about what people thought of me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Are you with me? It doesn't matter. We live in a society, modern day society right now, where social media has bred narcissism among women. All the Instagrams is about me. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. You see, here's the 4 pictures. Ready? The first picture you see of a girl is this: the duck lips, then the butt, then the dancing, then the tongue, and then the finger. It's like those are your standard 4 to 5 issued photos on Instagram. If you see those on any of the girls, the tongue sticking out, the constant duck pics of the duck lips, if you see stuff like that, big red flags. Or the middle finger. I mean, it's just it's horrible, right? So those are some things that what people think of you doesn't matter, right? Now, the last part I want to talk about, and this isn't going to be that long of a podcast, okay, is your emotions. If you cannot control your emotions, it'll affect how you react to people. You have to get that under control, people. I see it a lot. I see people become enraged. You have to control your emotions. Remember, it's not personal. It's business. It's data. How can people get so upset with me when I'm giving them data? Think about this. If Paul Revere rolled in on his horse and said, the Russians are coming, not the British, the Russians, and you guys got mad at him, how's it his fault? He's giving you a warning. I'm giving every man out there in this war a warning. I'm giving every woman out there that's on the wrong path a warning. I'm giving them a message based on anecdotal data, factual data, my experience, my wisdom, the amount of interviews and people I talk to. I'm sending them a warning message. And you get mad at me. That's a person that cannot control their emotions. And they react. You don't need to be upset. It's not personal. If it feels personal, that means you have to change. That means it's affecting you. I see it. Perfect example today. The girl has, pretty attractive girl, and she said something about, if you're single in your 30s, that's not a bad thing. Well, why are you posting it then? Because you're concerned. If it's not a bad thing, why post it? You see, I'm an independent woman. Why are you telling us that if it doesn't bother you? Are you with me? That's an emotional person. They can't control themselves. I'm a strong, independent. You don't have to. I'm a strong, independent man. I'm a strong, independent man. You never heard a guy say this. If you're single in your 40s and you're attractive, there's nothing wrong with it. Well, then why'd you even say it? There is something wrong with it. That's the problem. You know it. That's why you posted the reel, the short. If there wasn't a problem with you being single in your 40s and you're attractive, you wouldn't post a video about it. You'd be okay with it. But the fact that you posted a video about you being in your 30s or 40s and you're attractive and single and there's nothing wrong with it means there's a problem with it. Because if there wasn't, you wouldn't have posted a video. To tell us to make yourself feel better about yourself. That's a person that cannot control their emotions. If you cannot define yourself, everything affects you. You have to learn how to define yourself. Who are you? What do you represent? What are your core values? Where are you going? Define yourself. I was in the casino. This guy said, this person stepped out of pocket. I held him accountable. He said, man, that must weigh heavy on your heart. I said, absolutely not. He goes, why? I said, because I don't give a fuck. What if that was a guy? I don't give a fuck. You're not going to run me over. I know what I stand for. Well, aren't you worried isn't that heavy on your heart? Doesn't that affect you? Not at all. We're too busy worried about other people. And this is the funny thing. When people disrespect you and you bite back, then it's an issue. Then you're the problem. No, you're not going to disrespect me. No, I'm not having it. Well, aren't you worried about if somebody records you on video and it goes viral? Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I'm a different breed. I'm a different type of dude. I march to my own drum, not yours. You have to know what defines you. I'm an easy to get along with guy. I'm very friendly. The moment you disrespect me, I'm going to hold you accountable. Okay? So if you cannot define yourself, everything in life's going to affect you because you're lost. Who are you? Stop trying to be somebody else and live somebody else's life. You be yourself. You be the best version of yourself every day. And if nobody likes that, screw them. Because you're not living their life, you're living your life. If you can't control yourself, it's usually a deeper problem. It's something from the past that's affecting you. Single household, abusive father, abusive mother, absent father, absent mother. You were picked on in school. And this is why you're emotional to your emotions. That's how you're affected, right? It could be something that is a deeper problem. This is where I say seek a therapist. And I have people say, well, who hurt you? Nobody hurt me. Nobody'd watch me if I was hurt because I'd be complaining about my situation and what happened to me. Here's the difference between successful podcasts and bad ones. People that don't know who they are get on a podcast and complain about woe is me. This is how I was hurt. I was affected. I was abused. This and that. That's a person that needs therapy. And if you tell that person and they don't want to seek help, they're going to be an emotional basket case the rest of their life. And they'll have a podcast. They'll have a girls, my girls group. My girls group. I saw this. Lady posted something and she said, me and the girls group, we meet up, blah, blah, blah. She came out of nowhere on my Instagram and commented, and I said, well, you know, if you have something to say, jump on my podcast. She didn't want to jump on there. She just wants to talk smack behind the lines. behind enemy lines, right? Hide and throw out insult, shame, and guilt and the need to be right. Here's what a generalization statement is, and this is what you have to understand. If you're watching this podcast and you're a woman and you're offended, or a guy that's offended, whatever, you have to remember that these are generalized statements. This is the majority. The exception is not the rule. The rule and the majority is the rule. And she said, well, that's not a true statement. Because I know this and I know that, and you shouldn't generalize. I said, okay, I shouldn't generalize. Let's talk about that. What is the state of New York known as? The Big Apple. City of New York, Manhattan, the Big Apple. What's Florida known as? The Sunshine State. Is it mostly sunny in Florida? Yes. So it would be fair to say a general statement that represents Florida is it's sunny all the time in Florida. It's mostly sunny. Is that a fair statement? Yes, that's a generalized statement. So when I say modern women and I generalize it, I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about the majority. That is the rule. There's always exceptions. There's always a different situation. I know this one guy. I know this one lady. I know this couple. Well, I probably do too. I'm talking about the majority. Are you with me? So I'm going to go to the super chat. Got some, if you have any questions, jump on we have a Zoom live. You can jump on. The information is in the description of the YouTube channel if you want to jump on the live. I'm going to super chat. If you have any questions, feel free to jump on. And we can continue this podcast. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I know I ate some good food, but I definitely had to hit the cardio, and I haven't hit it yet. I've been in the gym. Okay. Black Eye Supplements. Where are we at with the website? We are about, I keep saying 2 weeks out. I keep running into some technical issues. I'm hoping it's a week out, maybe two. We got a good 35% of the stuff done we need to get done of the 100%. I still got 75% or maybe 60% done left to do. So that website should be up soon, and then you can start ordering supplements if you work out. All right. If I have no other questions, I'm going to end tonight. This has been a short podcast. I don't know how long we've been on. 30 minutes, maybe. Okay. So come prepared next week, next Wednesday. If you have questions, write them down. Jump in the super chat. Ask me the questions you want to ask. Feel free to ask any question. World events, success, business, relationships, lifestyle. I'm open to answering them. But I hope that those three areas and topics that I talked about are something you can sit down and digest and go over. Because those are very important to work through, okay? Emotions is one of them, okay? Narcissistic traits that you should look for and what people think about you. Remember, look for those red flags when you're dating. Don't worry about what people think of you and control your emotions. Life can be a lot better, all right? Hope that makes sense. Stay strong. And remember to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week. Stay